bad, we'll try to fight to this position, which is close guard. Close guard gives me the ability to manipulate Jay's body and posture as well. We're in a constant fight when we're in close guard. Okay, I don't want Jay to be up in this position, because if it's MMA, he's going to be able to throw some really effective shots. He's going to be able to look to kind of open up my guard, or even stand up with them guards closed. So this isn't a great position for me when Jay's got really good posture like this. So what we're going to do first of all is just look at breaking posture. So it just makes it a lot easier to attack his arms. Because if I open my legs and I start trying to go up into like arm bars and things like that, he's too far away. So you have to be a little bit careful with this. So the person here, they're just going to post their hands on the floor so you don't end up getting headbutted for the next 30 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to go on the inside where the thumbs are. I'm going to pull the hands towards the mat and I'm going to bring my knees to nose. Okay, so if you just watch my legs, so I'm just here and it's that knees to nose action that I'm looking for. So this is the kind of first thing that we're going to do, which is going to set all our submissions. So breath posture and in. If Jay's hands stay here, and I try and do the same sort of thing, it's really difficult because he's pushing into my belly to stop the posture break. Okay, so here, knees to nose. Okay, when we get that, I just want us to hug. Okay, so we're going to go one over, one under, and just hug in this position. So this is good from a self-defense point of view. This is how we teach our self-defense for jiu-jitsu, just to stop Jay's ability to be hitting me. Okay, so let's just get a partner and let's just practice that 3 times, breaking posture, and then we'll go into some real. So I'm sure you'll have lots of questions as we go through, so just grab one of us and fire away with all your questions. So a couple of really good questions, just walking around talking to people. So the hand position for Jason is really important, okay? So he's keeping his hands on my belly to stop my ability to come up and grab him and pull him down to break posture or even attack, okay? If Jay's hands is a little close to my nipples, okay, this is a lot easier to deal with from a bottom person's point of view, okay? Because his arms are straight, it's a lot easier to start attacking for arm bars and things. If his arms around my neck, this is where it's even easier to attack the arms. Now, you do have the added pressure of someone trying to strangle you, so from a self-defense point of view, this is something you need to get used to. In MMA, you don't really tend to see it as much. I can't think of a situation where I've seen someone strangling someone in MMA, but from a life lesson and self-defense point of view, sometimes it's good to play this, just get used to the position. But these aren't great positions for Jason. Okay, so typically he's always going to be fighting in this position. So we've pulled the hands onto the mat. At this point, when his hands are on the mat, he's no longer controlling my posture. Okay, so even if I don't bring my knees to nose, his posture has been broken down. All right, so the first attack we're going to do is called a Kimura. Okay, so I'm going to control the wrist of the side that I'm going to go to. So all I'm doing with my hand, as soon as his hand touches the mat, I rotate my wrist so I end up gripping like this. Okay, does anyone ride a motorbike? Perfect. So everything I'm going to say is gospel and how you would ride a motorbike. Okay, so I'm going to correct me and go, you son of a bitch, you lied to me, you don't rev an engine that way. Okay, so at this point, when I've controlled the arm, I have to open my legs, okay, because unfortunately, again, God's blessed me with these short, stubby little legs and many problems. So I'm going to high five out. Okay, so I'm going to sit up and go up, high five out. Okay, so this is really important, okay, because I need to wrap around the shoulder. If you don't high five and get onto your butt, you're going to have a shallow grip, okay, and this makes it a lot harder. I want to wrap all my arm around and squeeze off on that shoulder. Okay, as soon as I do this, I'm then going to fall backwards. But as I fall backwards, I'm going to point my butt out on this side. This feels like a lot, but don't worry, once we've done it a couple of times, it'll make perfect sense. Okay, so try and grip my arm. So you see how his arm's kind of bent now? We're after that 90-degree angle. As I drop backwards, like I said, I'm going to take my bottom out and take this leg over. Okay, don't push your arm up just yet, but just get used to that transition of getting your bum out. The reason why we're doing this, I don't want Jay's weight on top of me. So if I go to here, I've still got all of Jay's weight on top. Okay, so it makes it a lot harder, not only to take the arm up the back, but to do stuff. He can now bring his hand towards his hip and then defend the position. So he's defending what we call the Kimura, which is a shoulder lock. Okay, so this is the drill. Nice and steady. Yeah, so I'm still bringing the knees in a little bit because I need to break posture. I'm going to high five just behind me again if I can this time. Okay. Now we're a low five. So here, and then squeeze the shoulder. Create this, what we call a figure 4 position. Slide your bottom out, take the other leg over, and then hook round and keep nice control. Yeah, don't take the arm up just yet, just hold this position. Does that make sense? Yeah. Let's give it a go. 1, 2, 3. So there's a couple of minor adjustments or additional things that to keep in mind. This is going to really help us achieve the shoulder lock and the Kimura. Okay, so once we kind of place that hand into this position and control the wrist, we've got seconds. So without rushing and panicking because we're still learning the technique, in a competition, like as soon as I do that, I'm sitting through as quickly as I can, to try and stop and avoid his ability to posture back up. When this arm goes around, it's going to go over through, and I'm squeezing on the shoulder. This is where you start isolating the arm from the body. If I don't squeeze the shoulder, he's going to have some really good strength because he can use his shoulders to kind of move around, find gaps. It's a lot easier for him to posture as well. So just to make it even tighter, when we're into this position, we're going to squeeze, and then bring that hand into the figure 4, and then I'm going to rev the engine. Keep everything nice and tight, okay? Yeah, this is how you ride a bike. You guys don't know, you've never ridden a bike, you've no idea at all. So squeeze the engine, rev the bike. Apparently it is the opposite direction, but I've been teaching this for 20 years. Okay? And then this is now isolated. So this is where now I start kind of descending and going into my shoulder lock position. Okay? This leg goes over the top to stop him from doing a forward roll. Okay, so I'm going to loosen the arm, but Jay's just going to roll over the top. And that's one of the ways that he could try and escape. So that's the importance of the leg up the back. We need to stop that forward roll, okay? To finish the Kimura, I want us to go super steady with this, right? Because everyone's got different flexibility, and especially in the shoulders. As soon as you've passed the age of 25 and you've done weights for a couple of years, no one stretches, no one does anything with the shoulders, so we're all going to be a little bit tighter there. Okay, so here, great, high five, isolate the shoulder, rev the engine, take the hip out, and just gently take his hand to his opposite ear. Okay, and you see how we've got this angle as well, we're always attacking at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so if I squeeze, into there. Okay, so let's just get a feel for what the lock's going to feel like. When we're doing this, the person who's being attacked, tap the person. Yeah, don't tap the mat. Screaming is usually an indication it's gone too far. So I don't want to hear any screaming. Lots of tapping is absolutely fine. All right, give it a go. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So we've all learned the same thing, which means we all have learned, that possibly if we kind of posture back, we defend the Kimura. Okay, and this is one of the things with teaching ground where everyone's learning the same thing, so everyone can kind of work out, well, if I don't let my hand on the mat, or I put my hand back quickly, or if I posture back, I can actually defend the Kimura. We always tend to teach submissions in pairs, so you've got options, so should something happen, you've got the next route of attack, okay? So, we're still going to base it on clearing the hands, dropping the hands on the mat, controlling the wrist, okay? As I start sitting up and through, Jason starts posturing back up, okay? Now this is a real problem, because now I'm going to be super shallow on his elbow. It's possible, and if you're strong enough, you can kind of force it on, but it is a real problem if he postures back. Okay, so like we were talking about before, we've got our reset position if we really don't like this and don't want to venture into something different where we create a scramble. We'll come back in and we bring the elbows in, bring the knee to nose, now he's much closer. Okay, so we've always got that as an option to reset and go back. But what we're going to do is we're going to chain it. Okay, so hands go to the mat, control the wrist, I attack from my Kimura, and postures back. As soon as I feel his momentum go back, this is when I'm setting into this position. So I'm taking the hand back, so we call this a post, and then my left foot, right hand goes on the mat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive him diagonally backwards. Yeah, not straight back, diagonally backwards. Okay, so as I go through, it's called a hip bump, so I'm going to bump my hip into him, and then start turning into mount position. Okay. So clear the wrist. Brought the knees in a little bit just to make sure his posture is broken down. I initially attack the Kimura. I feel him posture back. You see I've got that good squeeze on the shoulder, so he actually lifts me up a little bit. Plant my left foot, drive diagonally across. So whichever side you control the arm, that's the direction you're going to drive your hip. So I'll lift my hip in to bump and then fall. So without Jason, looks ridiculous. Over and through. He postures back, so I post out. Still got that squeeze on the shoulder. Into that position. This, in my honest opinion, is the first technical sweep everyone hits. Everything else when you start rolling tends to be just a little bit of luck and a little bit of force. This is the one where you see technically people, work the position, hit bump, and then get a really good technical sweep. Okay, give it a go. 1, 2, 3. It comes into my guard. So as we said about the arm positions, that's Jason's preferred arm position. So we strip the hands, they end up on the mat, and we've now attacked. Okay, our other option as well, like I said before, is his hands being in this position isn't great for Jason. Okay, it's a lot easier for me to attack. So what I'm going to do from this position is I want his hands a little higher. Okay, so I'm going to go underneath and turn my hands up. Alright, we call them, I don't know why I call this, but we call it spider claw. Okay, spiders do have claws! Okay, before we start talking about that. My elbows go in as well, so this is going to help us bring the hands a little bit higher. Okay, so we've got two options. We're cleaning the arms to break posture. We've got 1 and we've got 2. Okay, so this is probably going to be one of the harder things that we're going to learn over the next couple of weeks, because we have to now start learning to move our hips and move around our opponent. A lot of good submissions is you moving around your opponent, not moving your opponent. Okay, so what we're going to do from here, I'm going to select an arm. Okay, so I've selected this one. This hand's going to go underneath and grab the elbow. Okay, once we're in this position, I'm going to take that elbow to the opposite side of my body. So it's past my centre line. So if you imagine there's a line all the way down, yeah, his elbow past my shoulder line. Okay, we're just going to get into this position. So good posture, spider claw grip. If you need to, you might need to lift your hip up to get the hands in a little bit tighter. I'm going to pull my knees to nose, just a little bit of a pull to get the hands so they're just past my nipples. Hand goes in, and then pull the arm across. Okay. Let's just practice that. We're not going to spend as long practicing that, but let's go. So there's a lot going on. So this is the bit where we've done a Kimura, which felt pretty good. We've done a hip bump, which is a nice technical sweep where we can feel good. Now we're having to learn a lot more mechanics, movement. This is the one where I send you away depressed. Okay, so that's my goal for this last bit, is to make you sad, but infuse that want for more knowledge. Okay, so hand in here, and then it goes in. So I kind of place my thumbs on the inside into this position. If you don't get this straight away, it's not a problem. You can just pull the arm in. When you get someone who's got a little more experience, they're very good at just put some pressure. There we go. So that kind of just pull doesn't work as well. So like Jay's a purple belt in Brazil, a very good purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So like I don't get away with just doing this. So I have to set it up by using my hips, using my movement, get my hands in a good position, in a position where he can't kind of keep that tension. So if we don't get that straight away, absolutely fine. What I really like is everyone is getting the centre line. So whether it's the elbow into the pocket or arm across here, it's the same thing. What you tend to find is, depending on how tall you are, this tends to be the preference of more taller people. Shorter people, you tend to come a little more into the pocket. Okay, so we've got his head off centre line. Next thing I'm going to do, the hand that's controlling the wrist is just going to come off for a second, and it's going to go over to the opposite shoulder, attached to the scapula and pull down. Okay, so this is going to stop his ability to be able to posture up while I unhook my legs. Once we're in this position, this is the complicated stuff. Okay, the hand tells me which direction I need to be turning, and remember, I'm turning around my around my opponent, not turning my opponent. So I place the opposite foot on the hip. This leg goes in the air like you just don't care, and you look in his ear. So Jay was saying this earlier, we're all ear doctors. We don't like noses. We don't do noses. We haven't done so much medical training to be looking up noses. We love ears. So I want to check, look at that, lovely. Okay, so we're always creating that angle to check out people's ears. You all pay for this, remember? Up, through, in. Everyone's got this isolation. Everyone's got this. All we're doing now is adding this bit, and then, like a clock, I'm turning my head over to what time? So that's 12 o'clock, just in case. So that's 1 o'clock, so what's that? About 10. So 10 o'clock. So we're going to check the time. Time to inspect some ears. Okay? Let's give that a go. Just watch how I create the angle. Okay? So head and spine super straight. Okay, so like a clock arm, yeah, everything stays aligned. Okay, a lot of people, and everyone does this when we first start teaching this, yeah, they're trying to paralyze themselves. And doing this work, keeping the spine in the same position. In Jiu-Jitsu, you're in a much more stronger position if your head is aligned with your spine. Okay, so as I turn, and you see I'm not really moving Jason, okay, and part of this is the top person kind of needs to work out a bit of balance in this session as well, which is fine. Okay, leg in the air like you just don't care, create the angle. Once we create the angle, it's so much easier to take this leg over the head, okay, and that's the goal. This is where we start then attacking for the armbar position, okay. Everyone does this. Everyone tries to just get real excited. Exactly this kind of thing. There are attacks which you can do this. Okay, like Eddie Bravo and the 10th Planet System, they do a lot of these kind of attacks, but I am not doing that. I'm going to stay nice and strong, keep the posture broken down, check his ear out, and then the leg's just going to go over the top. See how I'm being super nice as well. So what I'm not doing is get really excited. Some of that. Yeah, everything's just smooth. Yeah, I'm moving around my opponent. So even if I go to the other side, which is my cack side, everything is nice and smooth. Keeping that spine aligned. Okay, so the last bit of this, elbow across, centre line, control posture slightly, foot on the hip, leg in the air like just don't care, angle, leg over the top. Don't start cranking on the arm just yet, but let's just get that position. Give it a go! 1, 2, 3. The thumb's facing up as well. So when we're doing the armbar, if they tilt their arm a little bit, you have a little bit more give, okay? So when you're controlling the arm, thumb always faces up, okay? Side actually. So, yeah, we're getting this. Sorry, I'm doing something different. I'll karate block. Yeah, so again, just watch. I move around Jay. Yeah, he moves slightly, but you see how his thumb's pointing up? That's how we're going to be able to get the armbar position. So I'll control here, take the leg over the top. Okay, I want my knee pit as close to his head as possible because this leg is our controlling leg. This stops his ability to posture up. So Jay tries to posture up. I'm driving my heel down towards the mat. There are a couple of different ways of doing this. So you've got the legs crossed, yeah, and you've got knees squished, heels down. I prefer knees squished, heels down in this position. If you want to do this, it's fine, but just watch Jay's head. So it's a lot easier for him to control, and that's my argument. But there are some really good judo guys who can hit it from this position. So this is why I don't dismiss it. It's just for now. Let's just get used to controlling. Okay. So we control the arm. Okay. And gently lifting my hip up. Okay. Heels down, hip up, control the arm. That's the finish. Not humping his arm. I don't want to see any weird stuff. It's too early for that. Everything nice and tight, squish. Slow, continuous movement. Okay. Everybody does it at some point, especially when we start sparring. Get excited and just start humping the arm. Okay.